Hello, everybody. It is Matthew Paul Lissy, along with Suns Geek tonight. After the Suns do fall to the Nuggets, 119 to 111. Oh my God, I had the Suns actually winning the game. Let me take that away. I'm so sorry. So if you did not see the game, the Suns actually did lose 119 to 111. I gave them the win. But it was kind of a moral victory, right, Suns Geek? A little bit, maybe?
Yeah, maybe just a little. You know what? These kind of things happen after a loss. We're going to make some technical errors, the content creators that we are. But, frustrating loss. And we're definitely going to dive into it. It was a frustrating loss.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that before, but I think deep down inside, my nephew Hayden, always a shout out to him. Like I told him, I'm like, this is actually kind of fun because we'll talk about Nurk and his dominant performance.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun in that way where we kind of saw a different kind of Nurk. And KD going cold, of course, really cost us the game. That was really a big thing. But Jokic just kind of held to his own a little bit in the second half. Suns made a run, just came up short. Tonight we will be talking a lot about Kevin Durant going cold and Nurk. But a lot of other guys stepped up tonight. So Suns did lose, but here's the real score. Right there you go.
There you go.
119 to 111. I know it doesn't look as good, but it is the truth, and the truth does matter. Here on Suns Jam Session, like, subscribe, rate, review, 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. We will read them live here on the podcast. And Suns Geek, tonight, before we get into things, do you have something to drink? I do have something. And that's a little interesting, but I'll let you go first if you have anything that you want to crack open before we start.
Well, you and I were talking backstage. I was pretty frustrated by that Raptors loss, and we'll talk about it later. But because of that and because of this loss tonight, I think I got to go with the good old Budweiser, man. I need something a little to lift my spirits up just a little bit, But don't
That
worry,
made me excited.
I got a water. Don't worry, I'm being responsible.
Okay. I love Budweiser. I'm a big Budweiser guy. I love it. I switched over to Bud Light because they don't use corn, but now I'm just stuck with the Bud Light and Budweiser taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
I never liked it as a kid when I was 8 years old, but now I do have the taste buds for some Bud Light. So tonight I'm actually switching up a little bit. So I got a diet, it's a Diet Pepsi right here.
Nice, man.
If I can find the camera that's right in front of me. So the Diet Pepsi, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to crack it open.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pour it in this cup. All right. So this is going to take a second. I'm not hitting
Take your time.
We're not starting yet. If you Jamsters don't hold, just wait a second. I know I'm annoying sometimes.
Brewing over here. He's got something brewing.
I got something brewing. So the next step though is going to be a little bit of THC. All right. This is just, it's not going to get too crazy. All right. I swear. All right. I haven't had any yet or anything. I'm going to sip on it a little bit, just a little bit. So what you do is you twist it open. And you pour a little bit in. It's strawberry. And you put it in there. So strawberry Diet Pepsi with cherry, THC. You stir it up, and it might get a little weird. So I do apologize in advance, but let's talk some Suns. $119 to $111. The Phoenix Suns lose again. And before tomorrow's night against Memphis, they are heading into the in-season tournament tomorrow night. So I do have a question for you, Suns Geek, because I haven't talked to you about it yet.
Oi, Matty. Mate, I've got to ask.
That pissed off John is already, he's joined, and he is up in the media booth, right? Is it nice and quiet up there right now?
I'm trying. I mean, you tell me. What's it sound like?
Oh, it sounds good. Yeah, the loud music, it's kind of gone. I don't hear anything. So as long as you're okay, we're good.
Tonight in the arena.
Yeah, it was loud up in here, man. I mean, it was. But there was a question you're going to ask, Maddie. I want to hear what it was.
But it was about the in-season tournament. I think we talked a lot about it. I was just going to get Suns because the Suns did lose tonight, right? We'll get into the specifics later. But I wanted just to ask him about his thoughts and how excited he is, looking forward to those games. I didn't want to save it for the end of the pod. I want to get right into it. But I guess, should I ask you that? Or should I wait till you're gone and we'll talk about it later?
I might never leave.
You're gonna be here all night?
Let's
I'll
go.
I'll hang out.
All right, dude. You're not even gonna go to the post game press conferences?
You like to
Okay.
do that more than I like to do that.
Yeah, because I like to be up and close, and like I like it when they leave one door and then I leave the other door, and I try to time it perfectly so I walk next to them and just act cool and try
Brush your
not to
hand up
fart.
against theirs, like,
Yeah,
oops,
yeah, exactly.
sorry, easy money sniper.
We can talk about it. Sunsky, I was going to ask you about the in-season tournament, how much it means to you, and how excited you are really going into it with the Suns clinching a wild card spot. Oh, already shaking your head.
I understand it, but I haven't had enough interest to like really read into it. You know what I mean? And look into it. And I do respect Adam Silver and company for at least trying to change things up. And look, let's be real. It's all about ratings. It's all about numbers. You know, I understand that. And I do understand they're trying something new, but I just don't see the vision yet. But do I hate the in-season tournament? No, not at all. I love the courts. I love the new jerseys and everything. And I will say this. I was wrong about the play-in tournament, so I'll probably be wrong about the in-season tournament. I know that's kind of a short answer, but I'm just, you know, we'll see. Once it's maybe like in effect and we're actually in those games, yeah, maybe I'll like it more. But and if the players actually play harder for it, then yeah, sure. But mixed reviews.
Okay, John, any thoughts on it with the Suns being in it? And I just wanted to bring it up in the beginning of the pod because it's been a rough night. So it's something to look forward to, right? Your thoughts, dude?
Yeah, I love the in-season tournament. I absolutely love it. I'm the anti-Suns geek on this one. I think that these are regular season games that crazy sons of bitches like ourselves are going to watch anyways. And it adds a little value to them. It made it interesting at the end of games when Devin Booker's banking in three-point shots that ultimately determine point differential and all these things. So, again, these are regular season games that have an added value to them. And because of that, I like it. Now, obviously, had the Suns gone 1-3, I still would have said, okay, I get it. I'm not as interested because we're not in it. But the fact that we are in it and the fact that on Tuesday we get to see the Suns for the third time play against the Los Angeles Lakers, it adds more incentive to be interested in it. But even if we weren't in it, I think it's a good idea. I like that it gives a little excitement. You know, I mentioned it on a podcast previously. That weekend of like Thanksgiving weekend it's a great sports weekend, and it's owned by the NFL on Thursday. Then Friday and Saturday you get some college football stuff. But the NBA had value because on that Friday, that's when a lot of different in-season tournament games, a la the Suns, mattered all of a sudden. So it made it interesting, and that's all. I mean, I'm going to be interested. My wife's asking about the courts. I've got people asking me how it works, and nobody really knows. So we had that going for us, which was nice.
Yeah, dude, what else is that? I love your answer, John. I'm with you on it. I think that the Suns have a good opportunity, if healthy, if Booker can be back, because Beal's just never going to play this season. But when Booker's back, he can help this team actually maybe win that championship and win some extra money for his teammates. But tonight, this guy was super nice, dude.
Nurk.
Delicious definition make them boys go crazy.
Oh.
Dude, Nurk, tonight, Suns Geek, we'll start with you. Best game of the season by far. Your thoughts, man?
Oh my goodness. Dom and Nurkic in full effect. And we should have probably known it was going to happen because if I remember correctly, the first possession of the game, grabbed the ball, posted up Jokic, kind of, got a little physical, scored the ball. And then there was just so many other moments where he just kept attacking Jokic throughout the game. He was aggressive and also really just all across the board. I thought he was pretty decent on defense in a few possessions. Obviously, there were some controversial calls here and there, especially later in the game, when what Jokic did with his elbow and everything. And I know he got into foul trouble and all that, but across the board, man, I thought that Jusuf Nurkic was incredible tonight. I mean, I'm looking at his numbers right here. 33 minutes, 13 for 22 shooting, hit 2 threes, by the way. I think he got a little, trigger happy shooting the 3, but at the same time, he was left wide open a few possessions. So I guess I'll take it. But the fact that he actually made a couple threes was huge. But he had 31 1 point, 6 rebounds, and I believe 2 assists. If that's not his best game as the Phoenix Sun, I don't know what is. And that's just the sort of aggressive use of Nurkic that I want to see night in, night out. And again, there's going to be some games where he's not, sort of sounds like the DeAndre Ayton talk. He's not fully engaged in some games. We know he can do this night in and night out. And if this was sort of a breakout game for Jusuf Nurkic, I'm all for it. This was his best game as a Phoenix Sun. I mean, I'm looking at some notes here. It's all Nurkic here. Like, there's a lot of good sequences with him and Kevin Durant playing off of each other. We need this aggressive Nurkic going forward, especially if we're not going to have Bradley Beal for a while. And hopefully Devin Booker comes back soon. But you guys get the point. We need this Nurkic.
Yeah, was he making the boys go crazy in the stands there, John? All night long?
He was making Jokic go crazy. That was fun to watch. The big bodies just, slapping around down there in the paint. Old school centers. It was the loudest that the arena got tonight was on those 3 consecutive possessions where Nurkic went right at Nikola Jokic and scored 6 points on him. One, there's a flop that was a clear flop and nobody called. Mark Davis
through the elbow.
I mean, Mark Davis had his head up his ass the entire game. It was unfortunate because the Phoenix Suns, played really well tonight with about 4 minutes left in the second quarter onward. That first quarter and 7 minutes or 8 minutes was just absolute dog pew, if you will, especially defensively. But it was Nurkic's best. It was the dominant Nurkic performance tonight. The way that he went mano-a-mano and showcased us a preview of what potentially could come in the postseason or in other games against Denver. He's always had success against Jokic, and that's what you need. You need to try to throw somebody at him to just kind of slow him down. We know we can't. We know nobody can. We saw in the last vital possession of the game where Jokic just kind of picked apart the Suns as he does, and then went right at Nurkic, or Nurkic was fouled out by that point. But it was a great Nurkic performance, Matthew. You got to absolutely love what you saw from him tonight.
Yeah. I mean, the physicality he brings. My favorite part is just like when he still gets the ball on the 3-point line and he's backing down these guys night in and night out. And it's like he gives it to the fans. The fans want it. They're like, yeah, go after him. And how many times do we have players that really take advantage of situations where they're just excelling on the offensive end and then they just go away from it sometimes, throughout the game. It's like a guy's hot and he doesn't get the ball again. But Nurkic's like, no, give me the fucking ball. Like, I'm going to take him down. It's Jokic. I don't care. I mean, Jokic defensively, it's not really that solid. But it's like, I'm going to abuse him. And I'm going to get these little nasty little hook shots over him. Like, what the hell are those? But they're beautiful to us. They are. Yeah. They're like just, it's like having an ugly kid. It's like they're beautiful to us. And that's the way his hook shots look. I honestly think that his passing with him and Kevin Durant, they are just so connected now. The little over-the-shoulder passes that get him in good situations, even though Kevin Durant couldn't make those shots at the end of the game, toward the end of the second half. He
didn't make any shots in the second half. He was 0 of 10 in the second half.
But he made one, right? Or no?
Free throw? No.
Oh, okay.
No, he crushed it from the free throw line, but he was 0 of 10 in the second half.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can talk about him next if you want, but just really quick before I get into him, I just want to talk about Nurk a little bit more because his passing's been great. But he makes sure that he makes the right play every time. Like he can just tell Kevin Durant, like, hey, no, we're not doing that. Like he's the only guy I always see on the court that shakes his head. No, that's not good. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's always just making sure that he's going to put KD in the right situation because honestly, like if he's going to mess up, he knows he's going to get yelled at. And tonight we're probably yelling at Kevin Durant. Let me find his freaking.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
Kevin Durant tonight, not Nurkic. Man, when he started off the game super hot, you're like, okay, here we go, right? He's going to match Jokic in a way where you thought it would be like a Jokic versus Durant thing. You didn't think it would really turn into a Nurk versus Jokic. I didn't really picture that going into this game, but it ended up being that. But KD if he just hits a few of those shots that are open on the mismatches, we win the game. Obviously, you can say it's a make or miss league, like he always says, but he was super frustrated tonight, right, Suns Geek? He had it on his face. He was just like, why are these not going in? And he was trying so hard, but why not move the ball? Why not move the ball? If you're cold, that's the one thing KD does do. He'll just keep going at it, which is fine, I guess, because he will hit the big shot. But this is the thing is like when you're missing Booker who facilitates the ball, KD did have 9 assists tonight,
11,
which was great.
Actually.
11.
Yeah.
So 11. He had 9 in the third, going into the third quarter.
Yep.
And then after that, I was like, okay, well now he's moving the ball and stuff. But then he was just kind of selfish in a way. I don't want to use that word to be like, oh, he's selfish. What a selfish prick. But like, it would have been nice to move the ball a little bit more. But then also, I'm like, well, I just want to see these go in, because if they go in, then he can get hot. So it's just like a sticky situation with him. Obviously, he's been a little cold as of late, and tonight he was just super cold. Like you said, in the second half, didn't make any shots. Suns Geek, are you worried that Kevin Durant isn't that good? I'm just kidding. What do you think about his performance tonight?
I'm a little torn on this. Like, let's be real. He had 30 points. You know what I mean? And I know people are gonna be like, oh, well, he went cold in the fourth quarter and he was 8 for 25. Shut up. He had 30 points and 11 assists. You know what I mean? And I get it. I'm a little torn on this, but let's be real. And I hate to be the biased homer here, but that's what I'm gonna do here. He didn't have Devin Booker out there. He didn't have Bradley Beal out there. And let's be real, I believe Yuta didn't play tonight. And Josh Okogie was our leading scorer off the bench with 13, which I can't wait to talk about him later. So I thought he had a really good game. Kevin Durant can do it all himself. And in all fairness, I mean, Grayson Allen finally started hitting some shots later in the second half and everything. But like, I'm a little torn on this. It is an off night. Sometimes you do have to kind of shoot your way out of these slumps. But in this game against this kind of team, the defending champions, I think he should have been moving the ball a little bit more. But can we just address the fact that even though he did shoot terrible and he was ice cold in the second half and everything, 30 and 11, that is insane. By the way, top 10 all time. He just passed Moses Malone, one of the greatest big men. You guys know me. I love the NBA history and everything. One of the greatest big men of all time. He is 10th all time, and he's like 1,000 something points away from passing Melo. It's amazing, man. Kevin freaking Durant. I just hope he doesn't stay in this slump too long.
What do you think, John? What's
He's
up,
Kevin
dude?
Durant. You know who he is. Who gives a shit, man? Okay, yeah, so he went 8 of 25. At the back end of this game, who else do you want shooting the shots?
Exactly.
Right? The shots he was taking, these weren't what Matthew and I have talked about it in the past, and Suns Geek, I'm sure that you've seen it, especially early on in the season, that some of our concerns with Kevin Durant was he was shooting shots that were highly contested, double teams and highly contested. These, there might have been a couple in the fourth, but these were wide open, 13-footers, and they just weren't going in. That's what you want. That's the shot that you want. Great looks. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he goes 8 of 25, 1 of 3 from downtown, 30 points. As you mentioned, Geek, 11 assists. He had 1 steal, 3 blocks. He's Kevin fucking Durant. He has no KD, or he has no Book. He has no Beal. He's doing what he's supposed to do in the back end of the game, and unfortunately, a couple of them didn't fall. Oh, fucking well, okay? It's the 19th game of the season. 19. It's December 1st, okay? The All-Star break is 2.5 months away. So, yeah, he didn't hit a couple shots. What'd he fucking do? It's okay, everybody. It's going to be okay. I loved what I saw, and I loved the fact that, Brandon, you brought up the fact that he passed Moses Malone for the 10th all-time in in NBA history, which brings me to not really a good trivia time, but it's trivia time all the less.
You know what time it is.
Trivia time.
All right, Jamsters, you can play along at home if you're watching the pod. Again, thank you for doing so. If you're on the Suns Geeks channel, make sure you give him a thumbs up, and then head over to the Suns Jam Session channel and give us a thumbs up, and vice versa. If you're on Suns Jam, head over to the Suns channel and give him a thumbs up. Smash that thumbs up button. So here is the question that I have for everybody, okay? This is a rough number. So by the 100th, okay? How many players have played in the history of the NBA? So I don't need the exact number. By 100th. So if it's
so 200 or 300.
Yes, like 1,200 players. So how many players have played in the history of the NBA?
20,200.
Okay. Geek,
Wait, hold on. Can you repeat the question one more time? I apologize.
how many players have played in the history of the NBA?
23,000. I don't know.
It's 4,500. 4,500. So you guys are way the fuck off.
Wow, the history. Wow.
I
Well,
was
every guy
looking it
plays
up while
like
you
1
said
year,
it.
right?
1,000?
That's if every guy plays 1 year in the
4,500.
NBA. Yeah.
John Tran's close. He says $4,000. It's 4,500 roughly. Okay, it was like just shy of that in 2022. So it's pretty close to that. But out of 4,500 people to ever play in the NBA, Kevin Durant is the 10th highest scorer.
Preach.
So yeah, did he miss some shots in the second half? Yeah, but he's the guy you want taking those shots. Period, exclamation point, end of story. Did we lose? Yes. Do they have a 2-time MVP who's at the peak of his powers? Yes. Do they have Michael Porter Jr., who's very unguardable, and Josh Okogie did have a hard time guarding? Yes. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. Don't worry, Suns fans. We play the fucking Grizzlies tomorrow.
And
Woo!
do
Yeah,
the,
that's a. Go ahead,
sorry,
Justin.
Matthew, my bad.
I was just excited after that.
I was just gonna say, do the Nuggets also have some great role players and great depth as well? Even
Yes.
some of their younger guys, yes, they do. And are they well coached? Absolutely. That's
Well,
why
you
I'm more
have-
frustrated about the Raptors' loss than this loss.
You have Christian Brown fulfilling that role vacated by Bruce Brown last year. And that was one of the questions that we had was their depth. But, as you mentioned, Geek, their coaching and a lot of these guys have slotted into those roles that were depleted, and they're playing well. It's, a lot of weak side ball movement, weak side action, cutting. They cut nonstop, kind of like the Warriors in the mid 2010s, a lot of off ball cutting. And when the ball goes up in the air on one side of the court from beyond the arc, Christian Brown's crashing from the other side. And that's just kind of the philosophy that they have. And, it's funny. You look at when the Suns were struggling on defense, it's because they weren't adjusted yet to the cutting that happened. And that's what the adjustment that Frank Vogel made. And all of a sudden, this was a much more engaging game.
Yeah, even like the 22 assists in the first half from the Nuggets. I know the Suns lost tonight. And John, before you even joined, I had the Suns winning this one 119-111 there on the scoreboard. So sorry about that. Don't watch the beginning of the podcast. I didn't mean to screw up that bad. But it just seemed like tonight, like the way the Suns came back and held their own against the Nuggets team with Kevin Durant missing every shot in the second half, the adjustments Vogel made with Goodwin coming in and Okogie coming in to help like cut off those lanes, it was everyone passing the ball. I know Jokic had the 8 assists before he had even 8 points in this game in the first half. So he was sharing the ball. Then he had to actually step up, hit some big shots there in the fourth quarter because he knew, hey, this team's actually my team's going a little cold. They're looking for me to actually support them in a more offensive way of just scoring the basketball, making it easy on them to where maybe they can sink in on Jokic more and then he can get the ball back out to them because the Suns defense was not putting any pressure on their perimeter and in the paint. It was the insecurities the Nuggets knew that we had, and they instantly went through it. But I love how Vogel adjusted to this, how the Suns came back. And I never, ever do this. But I'm like, without Booker, without Beal, all that bullshit, and then they don't have Aaron Gordon or Jamal Murray. I like how the Suns did match up with them in this game. And the way that Nurk handled himself in this game, this has made it important in the future. I'm not saying they're going to meet in the playoffs, but by God, if they do, this will be a 7-game series where they can each handle each other and just make sure it's a competitive series. That's what I kept thinking the whole time. That's where my mind was. Yeah, they lost, but it's not the in-season tournament, so it doesn't matter, right? Because the Suns lost a regular season game. I'm just kidding.
Remember, we took them to 6 last year, okay? Even though the Lakers had the greatest being swept in the history of the league, and Bill Simmons jerks off at night to how the Minnesota Timberwolves played against the Nuggets last year. You want me to talk about it?
Please
Jokic
don't.
Thing. Yeah, I mean the Nurkic thing where he glances over him. Oh, Nurkic will get hurt. He even said on his last pod, he's like, Nurkic, he'll get hurt. That's all he ever says about Nurkic.
Yeah, Matthew and I, this is a conversation Matthew and I have a lot because we obviously listen to the Bill Simmons podcast a lot. And whenever they talk about the Phoenix Suns, it's Bill Simmons just like, yeah, the thing about the Suns is, Nurkic will get hurt. And now on to Minnesota.
Because he doesn't care or follow us or even watch us.
Well, it's just it's a thing where it's like something's good, and you realize that Nurk is better than what we had with Aiden, but he just won't admit it. He won't admit it till 5 seasons later on, and it just drives us crazy because you can always hear the tone in his voice change.
Once Aiden went to Portland, all of a sudden Bill Simmons was like, "I love Aiden. I'm a huge Aiden fan." And even Russillo was like, "Are you kidding me? Have you ever watched this guy? This guy's fucking trash."
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing real quick? And look, I know it's just one Nurkic game. I know it was the best game as a Sun, but I will say this. I don't really remember DeAndre Ayton doing that. I'm not saying Ayton didn't have dominant games like that, because he did, but like taking over and like, especially when we needed him to, and being that aggressive. Now, maybe a few games here and there from Ayton, he would do that, but I don't remember a performance like that. So I got to give Nurkic a lot of flowers, man.
And like the thing is with Nurk, he had to figure himself out in this offense with Kevin Durant, with Booker. Now, of course, when Booker and KD are out, he's been holding his own, but it was just him trying to figure things out. Now that he's kind of figured things out, he can play his game, right? And this is his game, abusing guys when he can. And that's just what's so beautiful, is because we always talk about just how, I always do, John does, how sweaty he is and how much he just fucking cares on the court. It means a lot to us, because you just have to have that center that is that way and will step up every night, no matter who they're playing. And of course, he wants to prove something against Jokic, but I feel like he does this every game, and he put up the extra stats tonight because he could abuse Jokic on the block and get those easier lay-ins, and that's why he had the points he has. But otherwise, he'll help out in other areas every other game. He's been just so consistent this year, where even like those stat lines of the 2-3-2 and whatever, those are kind of in the past now. I'm just looking forward to him actually staying more consistent stats-wise, but also just making sure like every offensive possession, he's either going to score, assist, or rebound, or even defensive end block. Like those blocks are really going underrated too. But Suns Geek, we'll talk about your guy right now, okay? I know you've been waiting.
Hey, Joe. Where you going with that gun,
And Josh Okogie tonight, Suns Geek. I mean, I think this is his absolute best game tonight. He went on a stretch there where Suns fans wanted him gone, traded, and this has been a few games in a row where he's played really good, but he'll hit the side of the backboard, and he'll throw the ball out of bounds once in a while, but he'll get you 7 points in between, even out, and then he'll just kind of end the game defensively in a way where he's making those Okogie plays. You want to expand on what a Okogie play is? Sounds like
Well, it was just more of, I think we needed that little bit of offensive burst that he gave us when we needed it, because I feel like we were struggling to score when he started scoring, because he finished the game tonight with 13 points, 3 blocks, by the way, and I feel like he was really aggressive on offense. I know he struggled a few times here and there, had some silly fouls and all that, but I thought he was pretty damn good tonight. I've always been a Josh Okogie defender, especially when people are like, Keita Bates-Diop needs to be in the starting lineup. I was like, what about Josh Okogie? But now it makes sense because Frank Vogel doesn't want to have a 5th starter, apparently. But I'm just saying, I'm a big Josh Okogie fanboy. Love what he does on defense, and he can give you occasionally some points when they are needed. And I thought that he did great tonight. He was really aggressive. He was passionate. He just got into a little bit of foul trouble here and there. Needs to be a little bit more consistent on offense, but I love what I saw from him tonight.
And John, right before you go, Intrepid, this is probably the comment of the year so far. Josh Okogie. I love that. I don't know why we never thought of that. Unless you've said it before. I've never heard that before, and it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's true. No, I'm just editing the game recap for Bright Side of the Sun. If you haven't been to brightsideofthesun.com, check them out. Shout out to Cole Totoro. He wrote the game recap tonight. Josh Okogie burned a little bit early. Keita Bates-Diop was burned early and often.
Yes.
Did he even play in this game? You know what I mean?
No, he didn't.
Exactly.
And Michael Porter Jr. was cooking him, and then Okogie came in. The same thing kind of happened. He was lost on defense too. A lot of his back cuts, but he's the one who really stepped up the defensive side of the ball with that 4-minute mark left in the first half and carried it over into the second half. And like you said, his offense, 13 points, 4 rebounds. He was really active, and those 3 blocks were huge. One of them was one where Nikola Jokic bowled through I think it was Nurkic, and like looked like he was just gonna have a nice easy layup, and then
Yep.
Kogi comes from behind
Bam.
and snatched it. And it was money in the bank. And this is a Kogi, and this is what we talked about, and have been talking about on recent podcasts, is the sheer fact that what he brings and the energy that he brings, even though he lacks some of the physical tools, if the drive that he possessed was in Keita Bates-Diop's body, he would be an all-NBA defender because of the length that Keita Bates-Diop has. But it's the motor, the call me nonstop motor that Kogi has that will always keep him in the lineup. He is just unbelievably productive and brings in. It was nice to see him have a good offensive game. One of the challenges, obviously, is when you have after your final timeout and you come out and you drop a play. The drawn up play was a corner three by a Kogi, and he bricked it because that's Josh Okogie.
Consistency. And also, I'm not saying Keita Bates-Diop isn't athletic or anything, but like if he had a little bit of Josh Okogie's athleticism, sorry, Matthew, go ahead.
No, you're good. Speaking of athleticism, this guy has been athletic most of the year. Now, the last couple of games he's been missing. I feel like if he would have stepped up, we probably would have won this game.
Big Crank Eubanks.
Crank that soul. Now I mean you. Crank that soul. Now I mean you. Crank that soul. Now I mean you. Crank that soul. Now what?
Banks,
what happened to him, man?
Dude, I don't know. It's like he's a -7, obviously, but 0 for 1. He's playing so grounded, right? Like, I just remember Drew Eubanks standing tall and talented and just soaring through the air. Soaring through the air and just feeling himself out there. He was once the starting center for the Phoenix Suns in my own head. Now he's just on the floor and he's like playing on his knees or something a lot of the times. I don't know what's going on with the dude. Can we solve this, or should we trade him?
It's easy. No. Well, what you just did, Matthew, is you solved it. Because you made comments that he should be the starting center for the Phoenix Suns. And what's happened since then?
Poop.
He's come back down to earth. But now you've officially said, should we trade him? Now he's going to start playing great again.
Yes.
Reverse psychology, dude. I'm with you. That's genius what you just did there.
All right. I'm very proud of myself. I just got my degree. And Suns Geek, Drew Eubanks. You a big fan? Yes or no?
He's won me. Ooh, that's a beautiful
that's a
look
big
at the
room you
arena.
have, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful. I'm jealous,
How much
John.
you pay per month, dude?
Just in case anybody was wondering where I'm sitting right now, this is press row up here.
Because you're credentialed, you know what I mean?
Who's on the court down there? So I was walking around last game.
I'm gonna steal that from you, John.
I was down on the court.
It's only
last
good for
game,
this game.
and I was setting up to do the post game pod, and like
Klay Thompson
and his friends were just like right there. I'm like, oh, dude, I better not screw this up.
Yeah, somebody's down there talking. I think it's DeAndre
Gerald
Jordan.
Bourguet down there? Is he all set up?
No, I don't see. I didn't see Bourguet today.
There's probably still. Usually it's like the 45-minute mark at the pod when we're done and we can come on. So he's probably not out there yet.
Yeah, but, it's about right. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who's back. I think it almost looks like Bradley Beal's chilling down there. Oh no, that's the family of Jordan Goodwin's down there.
Mm.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy. So I was in the back, and Steph Curry came out and was talking to Damian Lee and their family. I was standing there kind of watching, but I'm like, what am I doing? I look like a freaking creep, dude. So it was just for a second, but I caught myself and I went back upstairs. But Suns Geek, did you give your take on Drew Eubanks? I'm sorry, John was just showing us a beautiful view, but I want to get your talk on your take on him, and also just how how Yuta didn't play tonight. And if you're happy about that too, because we can play Yuta's drop, but I don't know if John will allow us after him not playing tonight.
No, okay? Why would you do that? Why would you play Yuta the shooter? Yuta the Puda on the bench.
So
I don't have many thoughts on Drew Eubanks, so we can just skip to Yuta.
Okay, you want to do Yuta? All right, man. Let me bring up Yuta's really quick.
Yuta, this is bullshit. We shouldn't be playing this. There's no way we should be playing this. Bullshit.
I won't bring up the graphic, but I wanted just to talk about him. The only reason, and it was, 1 second in, I'm like, well, should I just take it down? But I just want to put it out there that we wouldn't have got back in this game if we would have thrown Yuta out there. I think defensively, he's just such a reliability. And Jordan Goodwin came in tonight, really made sure that he cut off those passes, entry passes, like in the second half, right? He shored that up for sure. But I was just thinking, I'm like, dude, if Yuta's out here, even they put him in Metsu for a little bit, if Yuta's out here, man, this lead just going to 40 points tonight. So that's what I was thinking. But I haven't heard Suns Geek talk about Yuta really, and just, you know, where he's at with Yuta, and is he just done? Because I'm done with him. I think he's just completely in a Shamit zone right now with the Suns.
Ooh, the Shamit zone.
We're gonna be hoping.
That.
Yeah, we're gonna be hoping all year he has it. We're gonna be praying to Jesus that he has it, but it's not gonna come.
No, that's a
Suns
great
Geek,
piece
what
to
do you
write for
think?
Brightside tomorrow. The Shamit zone.
Oh, dude, games tomorrow though.
You gotta make that drop too, John. The
Shamit zone.
Look, to answer the question,
that's really fucking good.
That's great.
That's really good.
Money. That's why I love this.
I love it.
To answer the question, Matthew and John, I think I just had a little bit too high of expectations for him. Maybe that was just the off-season excitement, because, you know, the new team, the new coaching staff and everything, we were doing this off-season, and we're like, oh man, we got a really good three-point shooter with great size and competes on defense and everything. That has not been the case at all. I don't even remember too much of Yuta throughout this season. And look, it's a make or miss league, like Kevin Durant says and everything, but man, he has been inconsistent, struggling. And look, I'm not saying, look, maybe I'm a little optimistic here. I'm not saying he is in the Shamit zone, but I'm glad he didn't play tonight, because if you're not making shots, why are you out there? You know what I mean? Especially with no Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, you should want to be out there. You should be making your shots when those guys aren't on the court. And you didn't even play tonight. I hope he takes note of that. Just been disappointing, man.
Nas Little just walked out, so he's saying what's up to his family. No, so here's what I got to say about Utah in the Shamit zone, which I absolutely love. So I was sitting right next to Kevin Hicks from InsideTheSuns.com, and we talked the entire time. Like he probably was writing a recap or something for his site, and I'm like, sorry, dude, like, if you ever go to a basketball game with me, and Matthew, you know this because you've been to many, I talk basketball the entire time. I fucking love basketball. That's why I'm sitting here. And one of the subjects that we brought up was exactly what Matthew said earlier. If Yuta Watanabe was in this game right now, this lead would balloon to 40 because of just his poor rotations on the defensive end, his lack of confidence on the offensive end. Unless he's shooting a corner three, he doesn't have confidence. He's been doing the Damian Lee this season, where if he gets that ball behind the arc at three-quarter or dead away, he pump fakes and he drives. And then he turns into Eric Bledsoe because he doesn't know where he's going. He's like a heat-seeking missile that doesn't know where the heat is. And he just drives in aimlessly, and if there's not a wide-open layup, which guess what? In the NBA, there's not, he's going to turn the ball over or make a mistake in some way, shape, or form. And that comes from a lack of confidence. And then that is what is the Shamit zone, right, Matthew? When you have a lack of confidence, you're in the Shamit zone. And that's what Yuta Watanabe is. Now, have I given up on him? No. We're 19 games into the season. He's going to have his opportunity, just like Nasir Little, just like Drew Eubanks has had, just like Josh Okogie just had. These role players who are going to come in and they're going to get hot and they're going to go on heaters. That's a phrase that I've been using recently. There's certain players who are just going to go on heaters. Why? Because this team is that deep. Because we have that many quality players. Yuta Watanabe is a quality player, but he just isn't. He's in his own head right now. There's going to be a road trip that comes up where he's going to go out to eat one night and they're going to have like a hoagie roll and it's going to be like a Philly cheesesteak, but it won't be from Philly because they've already been to Philly this year. And it's going to hit him just right. He's going to wake up at 2 a.m. He's going to have fucking horrible diarrhea. And he's going to just feel off that day. And that's the day where everything will kind of come together, where he's out there. And instead of focusing on shooting true through the basket, he's praying he doesn't shit his pants. And when he starts to focus on not shitting on his pants, everything else goes natural. And all of a sudden he's going to start hitting three-pointers. And then he'll start to gain that confidence. It all comes down to food poisoning, my friends.
Yeah, Jam says, if you followed any of that, you know, I give you a lot of credit because I'm really lost on that. I picked up on the shitting the pants part, but I'm a little lost.
It's like when you are worried about things outside of the norm, you start to do what you're naturally trained to do better, right? It's like a golf swing. If you sit there and you think about your golf swing, you're going to fuck up your golf swing. But when you go out there and you're just not thinking, the whole key to a successful golf swing is don't think.
Preach.
And what we're waiting for Yuta Watanabe is to go out there and not think on offense, to react and just be himself again. Defense is a different matter. I think that there's going to have to be some opportunities. Like when we played the Charlotte Hornets on the 29th of December, that'll be a chance where he can go out there and maybe get some confidence relative to the defensive end. And maybe from there, he'll start to get more playing time.
Yeah, and someone that's really been himself is this. Right. Yeah, we all got in there. We got a little bit of a dance, but I didn't know Frank Vogel led the league with 4 techs for a coach. But both coaches tonight were just insane, going back and forth. And I love that Vogel's that way. But refs on both sides, even the subreddit stakeout, Nuggets didn't get to the line as much as the Suns, obviously. Suns get to the line a lot. What could I say, huh? They like to play physical. And both teams were complaining all game long. But Frank Vogel, 4 techs, I love it because if it's not for him, KD, I don't think would get the respect he needs to be on the Suns. Because when you're a Suns player, you don't get that respect you had in previous destinations. You just don't. Frank Vogel, I feel like, is a big reason why Kevin Durant's getting back to the line a lot. Because at the beginning of the season, I feel like it was an issue. Now it's just something that's more consistent, even though I think Kevin Durant should be to the line even more, and he gets fouled even more than what they're calling. But Frank Vogel, I feel like I even said after halftime, the adjustments he made to come back and then have the Suns, come out there and almost take the game from the Nuggets was huge tonight. It's just, those are the things I'm looking at where I'm like, dude, this guy's like a real coach. I feel like, right? Am I wrong? Am I right or am I wrong?
Absolutely.
You're right.
Yes. It's good to have a coach that will, first off, be vocal on the bench, and not even on the bench. He'll get up on the sidelines. He'll get in the refs' faces and everything. He'll defend his, and I'm not saying Monty Williams didn't do that and everything, but like Frank Vogel's more vocal about it. And every coach has their philosophies and everything, but the way that Frank Vogel really talks about basketball and analyzes it, it's just a lot different. It's so much more refreshing than when Monty Williams was here. And I know it's easy to pick on Monty Williams because everything that's going on in Detroit right now, but that's a subject for another time. But still, I love what I'm seeing out of Frank Vogel. I love what I'm hearing out of Frank Vogel. He just knows how to win. And again, asterisk or not, the bubble championship or everything, the guy's won a championship. He's a winner in this league, and I'm glad he's our head coach, man.
Yeah, I think 2 great Frank Vogel moments tonight. One, after that flop by Jokic that wasn't called,
that was
he
bullshit.
was fired the fuck up. He was engaged. And there was another play in which Kevin Durant was fouled. Mark Davis didn't call it, even though it happened right in front of him. And then something happened, a ball stoppage occurred, and it went to a TV timeout. Frank Vogel, and this was on the far side of the court. The foul happened over by where the ESPN guys. Was it on ESPN tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so over by where Doc Rivers and Mike Breen were. And Vogel walked all the way out because right after the play, Mark Davis looked at Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's like, dude, he hit me right here. Okay, it's like, and it's one where Kevin, yeah, and you could see Mark Davis was just like, he was like saying, I'm sorry. Kevin Durant kind of like put his hand at him and just kind of said, whatever, turned around, he just leaned down. And Vogel was out all the way across the court. And he was sitting there getting the business, and like KD was like guiding Vogel back. That's what I like to see, is that fiery coach. Vocal Vogel is a thing. And I like that because we're coming off of, and again, one of the conversations I was having during the game, we're coming off a coach who was a great leader of men, was a great vocalizer internally, but externally, he was very stoic. I'd love to see what the statistic is for total technical fouls by Monty Williams in 4 years with the Phoenix Suns, because Frank Vogel is fiery, man, and I love to see it. And I've seen the other side of that conversation where people are like, well, no, your head coach should be calm. He shouldn't cost your team points. No, basketball is a game of momentum, and those are momentum changers, sometimes for the good, but and sometimes for the bad, but mostly for the good. When you're, as Matthew said, defending your team, standing up for your team, because those calls typically make their way back. They really didn't tonight, and they should have. But that's what you want to see. I absolutely love what we see from Frank Vogel and his affinity to orate his frustrations with the officials. It gets me fired up because he's like one of us out there.
Yeah, and it's never like it's never a bad thing either. He never goes too far. You know what I mean? Like he always pushes the right buttons with these refs. He just knows what he's doing out there. And sometimes you're like, oh, calm down, calm down. But like, I want more of it, dude. I really do, because this team needs that. They need that vocal guy. KD, not too vocal. Booker, yeah, he whines and stuff, but he's not really a vocal guy, right? He's not. Nurk maybe
Except
Nurk
for
is.
tonight, KD was pretty vocal tonight, and I love it. He needs to do more of it.
You just don't see it too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me get into subreddit stakeout. But before I do that, John, anything else from the game, dude? Like, what happened? I know you were talking the whole game, but were you watching the game? What happened?
Of course. Yeah, I'm a talker. Anyone who will listen. No, I mean, for the game, met up with Justin from Fanning the Flames. Was shooting the shit with he was at the game tonight, so I got to see him and talk to Bloom a little bit, and trying to plan a trip out to Vegas if the Suns can make it to that in-season tournament.
Wow.
Final, that'd be fun, right? Next weekend, Matthew, we can go live on the road, road a podcast.
Ask my mommy for some
trip.
money. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Haven't got that big paycheck yet. All right.
Big YouTube paycheck.
Yeah, those big YouTube paychecks that come in, man. Just enough to pay for StreamYard, am I right? But no, I mean, just
we're gonna get canceled.
Yeah, whatever. I've been canceled like 6 times, I think. You're only canceled if you care. Not a whole bunch from inside the arena. Again, it was great to see Kevin Durant get his 10,000th point. It was an engaged crowd. It's definitely a lot of Nuggets fans were here, but the Phoenix Suns fans, kudos to you guys, because my routine, Matthew. What do I do? What's one thing I have to have when I'm at the game?
Poop.
No.
That you have to do?
What's the one thing I have to have when I'm at the
game?
You
have to have a hot dog?
Nope.
What is it?
Where do I go? You go down for the hot dogs. Where do I go?
Oh, Wetzel's Pretzels.
Fucking trivia to Wetzel's Pretzels, baby.
Yeah.
I always have to have a bag of Wetzel's.
I don't pay
Pretzels
attention to anybody else.
when I'm at the game. And when I went up you go to the 200 section to get Wetzel's Pretzels, and there's a bunch of Nuggets fans up there. I was like, holy shit, dude, we have a fucking we're being invaded by them, and you couldn't hear them at all tonight. So kudos to you, Suns fans.
Good.
Keep the place loud. Matthew, you were in Denver tonight, though, right?
I was.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Oh, I was the king tonight, wiggling in my boots, shaking and rattling and shaking. I'm not gonna do an accent the whole time.
Oh, was that was his like accent. A New Yorker?
Yeah.
Elvis was more like, oh.
Yeah, I know what Elvis does. He does this little Uncle Jesse Katsopoulos a little bit, right?
Have mercy.
How's a curl on my lip? Do I have a curl? All right. I know it's stupid. This whole thing's fucking stupid. Suns Geek, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. So this is the best comment. Jokic, please guard Nurkic. Oh, God, I love that. I love that one so much, dude. We need Jokic to cook Nurkic in the fourth. Well, luckily he got him thrown from the game from that elbow. The one he set him up for, and the flop, yes, that super flop. The refs knew that flop was going to come, and they still called it. They knew it was coming, and they still called it. Who hid the spicy pickles?
What?
I'm not. Yeah, who hid the?
Cool.
That's what they put.
Did they go? Matthew, did they go? Cool.
No.
Hid the spicy. I can't even say it. Cool. Hit the spicy pickles.
Hard to get boards when you're not missing shots. Yeah, so that's totally true in the first half.
Yeah, they shot 30 of 30. They hit 30 of their first 39 shots. The fucking Nuggets did, man. Like, we lost by 8 points or whatever. They hit 30 of their first 39. Like
79% on 22 assists.
No,
it's fucking ridiculous.
Well, they talked about Okogie. They're like, Okogie shoots like 80% from 3 against us. I swear, Lil. That was before he hit the side of the backboard. Kogi hit one, and he hit the side of the backboard. And he's like, oh, shit. And then he had a good game the rest of the game. And then, yeah, that's what they commented. Yeah. And then they put, that's my center. And I was like, you know what? That's my motherfucking center, dude. That's my center in Nurkic.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
What's next, dude? You want to do some Jam Star?
Yeah, we got to dish out some hardware, bro.
All right, let's do some Jam
Star of the game.
Like, subscribe, rate, review, 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. John will read it live because he does visit that website, whatever it is. I think it's applepodcast.com. Sons Geek, like
we have
his...
one too.
Oh, do we? Okay.
Yeah.
You want to bring it out?
No, I don't have my computer up and I'm on my phone. So
no
next
worries.
pod,
next pod we'll remember
that I'm on if I'm here tomorrow.
All right, Sons Geek, you can go first. Who's your jam star now? Was it Booker, Beal, or Kevin Durant?
This might be the one time on the podcast where I don't have an honorable mention. It is Jusuf Nurkic, 110%, baby. Jusuf Nurkic, Dama Nurkic.
Nurkalicious, make me go crazy. It's Nurk. Is this the second consecutive game we've done Nurk, Matthew?
2-time jam star, Jusuf Nurkic.
That's right. It's his second time this season. Back to back for Nurkic, man. We're getting prime Nurk. Bill Simmons. Yeah, he's going to get hurt. That's all he'd say about
He'll
this
get hurt, though. I'm looking forward to that. You know what? I don't think he is. He falls
I'm not
gracefully.
listening. I'm not listening.
I'm with you.
What, 100%. To me saying that or to Bill Simmons?
To anybody saying Nurkic.
Yeah, just don't even talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah, don't even talk about it.
Tell us who your jam star is, Matthew.
All right, it's Jusuf Nurkic.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah, and jam stars in the chat, or jamsters in the chat. Who do you guys got? I'm not seeing anything here. Am I a little lagging or what?
I think StreamYard's being a little slow-ish.
Is it? I feel like it is. It's been a little weird with the comments tonight. So
I think I had an internet connection earlier, like an issue.
Maybe nobody's watching.
Maybe that's possible because when the Suns lose, the Suns fans are a little flaky and they never come through and watch us. I'm sorry.
Maybe once I started talking about Wetzel's Pretzels, everybody left.
No, and they went to go get
they're like,
some.
Ooh, yeah. They're like, dude, Wetzel's Pretzels on a Friday night? That sounds like a party to me.
So last time I went to the game with John sitting next to me, and he's just down there by his feet. I'm like, what is he doing? And up he comes with some Wetzel's Pretzels, dude. That's where all the action is down there.
Whoa.
Little sneak peek, everybody. Little sneak peek.
I put it in my backpack, and I just that was a good play.
He hides. I don't know why he hides it, but it makes it fun.
What I did this game is I went to the little lounge right behind us, and I ate him at halftime.
Okay. Yeah.
All the supermodels are walking by. I'm just like,
like, who's that guy? He must be important. Oh, I didn't even realize you had a hat on the whole time. All right.
I brought it in my bag.
That's good. I like it when you're bald. Next game, I don't have a graphic because I didn't make it. Memphis Grizzlies tomorrow night because the game doesn't matter. It's not in-season tournament. It's just a regular season game.
And they're terrible.
Fuck up.
Memphis sucks. Booker's not going to play. Booker will play an in-season tournament.
Way.
He will sit out tomorrow night. Memphis will play tonight. Did they actually win tonight? I forgot to double check. Oh, they did win. They beat the Dallas Mavericks 108-94.
Whoa.
They beat the Mavericks?
Yeah. Well, Mavericks, they're just so hot and cold.
They're inconsistent.
I know. But that's their fourth win, right?
I think so.
They're not. Yeah. They're not good, dude.
No, they're not. They're not good. So this should be a Suns win. I just feel like, for me, what I'm looking for is just a bounce back game from Nurkic. Right? I'm just joking. I wanted to see another good Nurkic game. I'm coming to the games. I'm watching the games for Nurk now. That I don't care about anybody else. But yeah, this should be a Suns win. I feel like I predict. Suns Geek, what do you think, man? Are you nervous about this game? Even though you just said they suck twice.
I feel like maybe I just jinxed us and they're going to come out like on fire and we're going to look terrible in the first half and everything. But in all seriousness, it's really just their injuries and everything going on with Ja Morant. Maybe they'd be a little bit better if they had some of their guys like Steven Adams and Brandon Clark, for example. But even then, like, would they be good? Probably. Like, I'm torn on them, but it's like you mentioned, besides Nurkic and KD, like, I want a bounce back game from like everybody else and maybe Josh Okogie as well. You know what I mean? Like, we need to see our bench guys step up. We got to be consistent. I mean, both teams are on a back-to-back, right? So it's like, got to play tough. We got to get that win. And if there's a game to do it, it's against the Grizzlies. Because, I mean, if they keep losing at this rate, even if Ja Morant comes back, they're probably done, man.
Yeah, their season's over.
Yeah.
It's already over.
You could argue it. Yeah, you could argue it's pretty much over now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Suns got to get right on this one, though. I mean, that a win there will put them at 12-8. Which I think is a proper place to be, considering that only Kevin Durant has consistently been healthy this year. Correction, only Jusuf Nurkic has started every game this season.
Yeah.
Bill fucking Simmons. So the Memphis Grizzlies are like, before the game, I was talking to a couple people, And I'm like, this one, this was a loss to me. I didn't think that we'd beat Denver. Denver is a team that possesses organic chemistry and one of the best players to ever play the sport, in my opinion, in his prime, in Nikola Jokic, who can manipulate the defense unlike anybody we've seen in quite some time. And at the same time, almost always makes the correct read. So I didn't think it was going to be a dub tonight, but tomorrow's a dub. Tomorrow you got to go out and you got to win that game. I think that's
crossed.
Yeah, because then you have 3 more days off until the Tuesday game against the Lakers. So Booker will not play tomorrow. I honestly believe that. Bradley Beal will not play tomorrow. I honestly believe that. So,
he's being reevaluated in a week.
Yeah,
reevaluated means he might not even be back for another fucking month.
That's correct.
Excuse my language.
Hey, but you know what? I say take all the time you need, man. Take all the time you need. Get that back straight. Get everything going. And I want you 110% before you step on that floor again.
Yeah, it's true, but I don't think he will be this year. It's just gonna be one of those things. It's like, does it even matter, right? I mean, the way that Book and KD have been playing with this unit, it's been looking pretty good. Of course, you want Beal there, but I'm just saying they look so good without him. Where
do you think
I don't even care anymore?
Do you think that the Phoenix Suns, if they didn't have Bradley Beal, are still a championship contender team? With this complete hypothetical.
Oh,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, they are. Because
imagine if we had that $37 million, what it could have done to this roster.
Yeah, I know. Damian Lillard. I'm just kidding. No, it's something we're always gonna think of. But I just want to see. What I keep thinking about is like, what if Beal does come back and he just plays for 2 weeks straight? And we don't worry about injuries because Kevin Durant, that's all I worried about until now. I don't even think about it, right? I don't even think about, oh no, he fell. Is he okay? I don't think about that anymore. So when we get to that point with Beal, I'm like, oh my God, we came this far where Beal's actually playing and he's healthy. I'm not even thinking about it. If that happens, what's gonna happen first? That or Yuta getting 20 minutes again in a game?
I think Yuta 20 minutes.
You think so?
I kind of had a thought about that too, and we were kind of like, picking on Yuta earlier. I wonder if he's going to look better when our big three's on the court together. You know what I mean? Just saying, like the spacing and everything.
That'll be everybody.
He's got to look better. Yeah, they're all going to look better.
Well, imagine like those lineups where Kogi and Goodwin are out there, and Beal or Booker's out there with them. They were out there a lot tonight, and the challenge that they had is they were filling up minutes where Kevin Durant wasn't there, and the offense was stagnant. You're going to have one of those guys always out there, and those guys are really excel, not only offensively, but they can really zone in defensively. And that's where you're going to see a lot of the vision that James Jones has for this team, is when those guys are going to have the ability to always have a Booker or a Beal or a Durant on the
Me and Matthew
court.
had that same conversation backstage, man. I said it's so hard to judge this team without our big three, man. But this loss kind of sucked. But I was more pissed off about the Raptors loss than this one.
Yeah, and I'll say it again, man. I really, they lost. It sucks, but I really like this team still. I think the way they fought back it was really big, but you just know this team has it. They have it, and it's all about injuries and staying healthy with Booker. That's in KD, but Booker, dude, that's the thing. Suns Geek, just really quick, alarming, right? He's already going to be out again this game, next game, and he'll come back. That's fine, but like, how many more times this is going to happen? Obviously, you don't know the future, right? You can't see into the future when he's going to get hurt again. But does that worry you more than anything else on this team? And obviously, I think it should, right?
You guys know me. I keep it positive. I try to keep it optimistic. But the other night, man, I don't know if I had like a rain cloud over me or whatever, but I was super negative. And you know what? Unpopular opinion here. I was giving shit to Booker's shoes. I think it's the shoes, man.
You think it's the shoes?
I think it's the shoes, right? Bro. Because ever since he got into those shoes, seems like it's been injury after injury. Don't get me wrong. He's playing lights out when he's on the court and healthy in those shoes. I think it's the shoes, man. But yeah, again, John's been saying it the whole podcast. We're 19, 20 games in or whatever. I'd rather have these injuries now than later.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, if we're by All-Star break and we're still having these injuries, that's when I might hit the panic button. And you guys know me. I keep it optimistic, positive, but injuries suck, man.
Just the transformation for him going into the season of him becoming our point guard is just the biggest story of the year for the Suns and I think the NBA. It's just crazy the transition he has, because the question was just the point guard thing. No one thought we had one, but Booker is our point guard.
Booker,
and like the Ringer wrote, we brought up last podcast, the best probably point guard in the NBA.
For
like
real.
he can be. That's why it's so frustrating because you're like, this year he's just playing so good, and I just want to see it follow through. Obviously, yeah, you want him healthy for the playoffs, all that. But this season, man, I just want to see him on the court and be like, oh my God, this is so orgasmic and awesome. But yeah, John, anything else? Tonight we got 30 seconds. Actually, sorry, 17 seconds left of the pod. Do you guys have anything else you want to throw out there?
I got some final thoughts here.
What's up?
So earlier, I don't know if you've met him yet, Matthew, but I know John has. Trevor Booth reported that he saw Damian Lee in a knee brace. And I know he's kind of like an afterthought nowadays, but I'm like, first off, I wonder if he's going to come back, and when he comes back. Might take him a few games whenever he does come back, but I wonder if we'll be like a little bit better with him on the court. Because again, kind of like we were talking about with Yuta, spacing, Damian Lee's got that experience. But again, I hope he actually comes back. Also, final thought here. I know this isn't a Magic podcast, but they've won 9 in a row. And don't be surprised if they make the playoffs. Just got to say,
I won't be.
they've won 9 in a row, man. So shout out to the Magic. That's all I got, pretty much.
It's lovely. You always can root a team like the Magic, and even what Halliburton's doing in Indiana, that's fun.
Oh my God,
it's the East. You don't hate these teams. You do hate the Suns never got Halliburton, but I don't want to talk about that. I want to end on a good note.
He's playing amazing though, man. Shout out to Tyrese Halliburton.
All right, well, I think that's it. I'm going to say my line soon, unless anybody else has anything. Like, subscribe, go home and love your family.